Hello, it's Joyful Hermit. I haven't recorded in a while again. I really went through a terribly dark time period. It had to do with my knee and double the pain in my body. My mind and my heart really couldn't handle it. I would research and come up with things that could help and try to get my pain doctor to understand. And he was the only one really helping me. The surgeon has what's called schizoid personality disorder. He has difficulty interfacing with people and communicating and dealing with people. He's an excellent surgeon technically, but if you have something wrong after the surgery, he isn't good in dealing with it. He has his physician assistant, his PA, who, with the equivalent of a master's degree, see the patients after surgery and at the 2 week mark. But the PA didn't have the wherewithal or the education or experience to notice anything wrong with my knee. I noticed it. I pointed it out to the in-home physical therapist the surgeon's office sent. He didn't know anything was wrong with it. Later I asked him, "Didn't you know what this is called?" No, he'd never heard of it. Well, it is rare. 4 to 6% of knee surgeries end up like this. But, and I would think a physical therapist should recognize it, but he didn't. My luck, you know how it goes. Um, so my pain doctor had been trying to figure things out to help. I've been doing the stretches. I went to extra physical therapy. Finally, the pain doctor decided to call the surgeon. Well, what the knee really needs, what would help it would be some injections, steroid injections. That would soften this hardened layer. My knee is like concrete. To walk on it is painful. And right now it's painful. It hurts all the time. I'm to do these stretches or it will go totally stiff. The stretches rile it up so that I'm in terrible pain all night. The pain doctor increased the morphine to help with the pain. We're talking a lot of pain here. And then I asked the pain doctor to do injections in it because I've read that could at least soften this hard layer that's grown over my knee under the skin. And it also reduces the pain so that I could better do the stretches and hopefully be out of bed more than an hour or two a day, which is all I can handle physically because the pain is so bad to step on it or be standing or walking on it. So, but instead he checked with the surgeon. Well, the surgeon with his personality disorder, which he can't help, the surgeon can't help, but I'm not blaming the surgeon. You are either born with schizoid or it's developed from something in the environment when you're very, very young, like an infant or a child. So he has this unnatural fear of infections. He's the only knee surgeon I know who won't do injections in the knee because he's so fearful of infection. He wouldn't allow patients, such as myself, to go to rehab after surgery, which my Medicare would have paid 100%. I didn't have people who could come. Finally, I got a couple of people who came for 3 days and 2 days, and that was it. And then my neighbor started coming. She didn't even know me. She just noticed no one was here and came over to see had something happened to me and found me in bed and couldn't get up to get water or food. So she started coming like 5 times a day to do the ice pump for me, and we got to know each other. Was God provided in a miraculous way with the neighbor woman. But no, the surgeon was afraid. He's fearful of infections. He's convinced if you go to rehab, you're going to get an infection. If you get an injection in your knee, it's going to be an infection. So I'm not going to get an injection now. No help. Last Friday, a week ago, tomorrow, I got so low because I had done all this research on what would help my knee, and I couldn't get anyone to listen to me except God. God listens to me. And I had even left messages with the pain doctor in which I was becoming frustrated. It's not his fault. It's not his responsibility. But at least he did call the surgeon, and the most the surgeon will do is to send me for more physical therapy. The surgeon doesn't realize I'd been to physical therapy. In addition to the in-home physical therapy, I went another month, and that physical therapist lied to me and said he could reverse this, but then admitted finally he couldn't, and that he had lied, and that the most they could do was teach me those stretches, so I know all these stretches to do, because that's what I'm going to have to do. And like I say, they're very painful. Just to do the stretches sends my knee into terrible pain. So I'm all night long with terrible pain. Anyway, I got very, very low, and I was on a very angry, frustrated, dark path. I don't think I have ever been that low in my life, and I've had a terrible life from age 33 on, or actually before 33, with a spouse I was married to who was very abusive and living a double life, but and wasn't horribly abusive until toward the end, when I was starting to realize that he had a double life going, several lives going, in fact, multiple lives going, cheating, multiple people, multiple women. And and then he turned on me when he's a sociopath. They call them narcopaths now, narcissistic sociopath. But when he became bad with one of the children, that did it for me. And he didn't want to remain married, so that was it. I finally agreed then. No, I knew that I wanted to keep the family together for the children's sake, but when it wasn't for the children's sake anymore, fine, that was it. But a narcopath, then, a narcissistic sociopath, will target the person who sees through them. And it's been all the rest of my life, that targeting, but all other kinds of things that happen. I always say the devil beats on me, or I'm Job's twin sister. So anyway, I really was so low. I left some messages that weren't my best for the pain doctor, asking him please to try to do something other. And instead, the only thing he could get the surgeon to agree to was to go back to physical therapy, to have deep tissue massage. The surgeon hasn't even seen my knee or touched it. It's like a riverbed rock. You can't even get skin pinched off of it. The skin has adhered to this hardened, thick layer that's all over my knee. No one's going to be able to deep tissue that knee. Massage it. Go massage a rock. See how far you get. But I'll go. The physical therapist I'm going to have happens to be excellent in spines. And I figure before long, I'm going to need it for my neck. So, because I have a very severe neck. Anyway, I got lower last Friday than any time in my life. And this period of being low had been going on for quite some time, longer than any in my life. That's why I wasn't communicating on the video or really much at all. I was deeply saddened and dark and upset, and the frustration level was beyond anything I'd had. So last Friday, I was praying, and the Holy Spirit turned me around and reminded me, in being essentially dead, it's not only to love and to pray as if we're on the other side and observing all these things. Certainly not to get frustrated by things of the temporal world or the people in the temporal world. No, they don't listen necessarily. Yes, they do have issues. We all do. Some have issues that maybe it was greed why this doctor and whoever allowed him to become a surgeon. He would have done fine as a research doctor or as a pathologist, where you're not having to interface with your patients if there's a failure. And other people have told me since, no, this surgeon doesn't do well interfacing with patients, especially if it's a failed surgery. He's done with you, that's it. I've tried to get other surgeons. No, because I'd already had the surgery with this surgeon. Go back to him. So anyway, and he won't. He can't. It's not his fault. He can't interact with people in a normal way. And so the Holy Spirit added to the love and pray, I was told you need to forgive. That's what we need when we're essentially dead also. Love, pray for people, and forgive. So I forgave the surgeon. I forgave my pain doctor for, it's not really his fault, it's not his responsibility. He was trying to help. But he got to a point where he didn't want to do the injection. He's injected my knee before for me, before the surgery, but now he didn't want to. I think he's unsure because of this thick layer in there, if he's to inject into the joint or into the thick layer. And I could research it and find out. I think it was to inject into the thick layer. But he has sort of turned it back over to the surgeon, who doesn't want to do anything but send me to physical therapy for deep tissue massage. So I'll do it, whatever. I've let go of it. God told me, let go, let go. God is doing a major life shift in me. This is a major turnaround because I can't stand on this leg for long. I can't be up from bed. I am becoming very weakened. And the nausea is worse just from the sheer pain of it all. My yard is dying. Most of the front and half the back. It has bill bugs. I researched that. I ordered from Amazon the stuff that I needed to put on it. Yesterday I used the little spreader for maybe 40 minutes or 30 minutes of spreading this stuff on the yard. And my knee was so horrific I had to get back in bed. Today I used a sprayer and sprayed with this stuff. That was the second portion of what I'm to do to try to kill the bill bug larvae. And I'll have to do it again in the spring. But then my knee got so bad I had to get back in bed. Yesterday I was unable to eat much because of the nausea from the pain. My lumbar is getting worse. My neuropathy in my legs is worse because I'm not able to be physically up doing manual labor. So this is major life switch. But the Lord reminded me of this forgiveness, and I've done forgiveness of everybody and anybody I can think of, and situations even. I'm not upset with family who has become really hurt by my situation. They're frustrated by it and couldn't take it. So sometimes people have to step back when a person has so much going wrong and that they can't take it. Their frustration can't take it. They love the person and that they can't help the person. So it becomes a frustrating situation for everybody. And so I had to forgive them that they couldn't cope with it, that they have to get away from my life. It's too much for them. They have their own lives with their own trials and their own families to deal with and hardships. So it was just a major turnaround last Friday to get me off this dark, ugly, angry, frustrated path I was on. And it was practically an immediate, within minutes, it was an immediate turnaround. And also, I realized there's a person who watches the videos who left some comments. And Liza or Lisa Field, I'm so grateful to you. She mentioned in a comment that my life or something about me reminded her of Gerard Manley Hopkins, the Jesuit priest and the poet. So I had remembered my books had been packed up for over 6 years or 7 years even, because I went to an island and was worked on, and I didn't intend to get a house that was a tear down, but it had been cosmetically covered over. So it took me 5.5 years to turn it around. And my books were packed up before I moved and after, until I could find a place, and I had surgeries. So I had gotten my books out, but I haven't done much reading. But she mentioned Gerard Manley Hopkins, and I thought that's one. I had two poets I was interested in. And I knew Gerard Manley Hopkins was one, and Jacques Maritain was the other. So I got out to my bookcase and found my Gerard Manley Hopkins books. Turns out I have 8 of them that I had collected. One is a little thin biography of him, because you don't find many biographies of him. He lived to be 46. He died of tuberculosis. Very painful death he had. And then I have all his letters, his journals. He had written some, I forget what they're called, some other kinds of documents he wrote. So I got all these books out, and his poems. And in all the other books also, they have introductory material about his life by different editors. So I'm all excited. And I know God is shifting my life away from physical to being essentially dead, but yet to involve myself in another way now. And although arachnoiditis, which is what my spine problem, affects my ability to read and to absorb, to focus, I'm going to start reading again and not worry about it if I remember or not. If I can't remember the details, I will get the overall picture, because I can read and do that. It's just that I don't have the detailed recall that I used to have before the arachnoiditis. And it's because of pain is what it is. My pain is so high. In fact, my pain doctor had to increase my pain meds because of my knee. And it needs to be even more increased, but I just don't want it. I'll see if I can cope. But anyway, that's what's been going on, and I wanted to share that with you about how crucial forgiveness is. And if you find yourself in a very frustrating situation of no one but God listening, and yes, God is enough. I realize God is enough to listen to me. God bless God for having to listen to me, because I've been doing a lot of complaining and a lot of angry feelings and frustrations that he's had to put up with me, especially with this knee situation. That noise in the background is Love, my dog Lovey, who wants out of his crate. So I guess that's a signal for me to stop. But pray, love, and forgive. God bless his real presence in us. And when you have something in your life occur that your whole life is being changed, and just accept it. Learn to accept and let go. Do what you can, but let go of expecting others to help if they can't or if they won't. And go with God's flow. That's what I have to say. Please pray for me, and I ask you to pray for a woman who's playing pickleball. She's a pro pickleball player. She's very persecuted. I won't go into all the ways, but it's the world out there. And she's playing this weekend. Say a prayer that she doesn't lose confidence, and that she rises above the pettiness of the ways in which she's being demeaned, and that she's very successful and enjoys the tournaments. Thanks for praying for that. And I'm doing a lot more praying now that I've been cleared of this ugliness that was taking over me, and this darkness and depression. Even as I didn't come on because I would probably start crying. I didn't want to just be sobbing into the video. But anyway, it was situational depression, obviously, but um, God reversed it all. Pray also for a little 6-week-old baby that has a very rare brain disorder born with it that causes her seizures. Her name is Vianney. Beautiful little name, Vianney. And she's in a children's hospital in Washington, D.C., going to have the first of a very risky procedure to try to reverse the brain, the brain waves. And this is going to be on October 10th. Please pray for Vianney. No, October 11th, 10/11. Pray for her that she survives this procedure. And if it's successful, there will be more procedures. Very dangerous. Thank you for your prayers for Vianney, for the pickleball pro, and thanks be to God for all his goodness. God bless his real presence in us. Thank you.